Not long ago I came across a video, and it's a TED talk of this guy talking about his childhood a little bit and how he was kind of saved. And he talks about how if you are an adult now and you are fairly regulated and you're doing well in life, you will most likely had a adult in your life, whether that's a parent, a teacher, any adult in your life that was a staple, that was just there no matter what. And so he basically says that before you're 18, if you have one of these adults, you'll likely have a good life, or a fairly good life, right? And if you don't have one of these adults in your life, most likely you'll crumble because you've never listened to someone, you've never had someone there for you for many, many different reasons. You'll just crumble. And because you're an adult, after that, it's sort of like, it's like not teaching a dog new tricks kind of thing. Anyway, he shows a big bag of marbles, and he says every marble in this big jar is equivalent to 1 week from the day that you were born up until you're 18. And then he gets out another jar, same size, but this one only has a few marbles in it. And I believe he is 17 when he's telling this story, so he has 52 weeks. I don't know, I'm not too sure if this is exactly when, but I know he didn't have a lot of time until he was 18. And he was jumping around foster care homes, and he came into this foster home, and there was a couple, and he said to himself, it's whatever, in a minute they're going to drop him, and he's going to do something bad, and he's going to move on to the next. Anyway, he does a couple bad things and messes up, and the father, or the guy of the couple, he came to him and said, no matter how bad you do, no matter how much you mess up, I'm going to be here, I'm going to love you, and I'm going to make sure that I put as much love into you as possible, no matter how much you mess up. What he explains in this TED talk is basically how he realised at that point that he ain't going to shake him. He ain't going to let him go loose, and most of all that he is loved, and that he has someone for the first time ever, that no matter what he does, he's going to be there for him. I know this feeling all too well, because I feel like I never got to have someone there for me 100%. And I would argue that, although I understand the argument he's trying to make with the after 18, you kind of, you think you're an adult, and that's kind of the recipient of it, or I don't know how to say it, but I think even after 18, you can still realise things, you can still learn things, you're still growing, and, recently I've learned that there is people in my life that love me and won't ever leave my side no matter what I do, and that is huge. It means everything, and I think when you don't have that, when you've never had that, and then you realise someone or people will be there for you no matter what, it changes your whole world around. And for people that don't have someone like that, and then you all of a sudden do, or someone comes into your life that's like that, it really helps. I think when people in this life make mistakes, a lot of people like to jump on a bandwagon of what they've done wrong and whatnot, but I think the biggest critic most of the time is yourself. You'll hate yourself, and you'll eat yourself up over it, whilst other people around you that love you no matter what have already forgiven you, have already seen past it, and that is it's a beautiful thing. but not all of us are lucky enough to have someone like that in our life. I think I'm making this video for the simple fact that if you are in a situation where you can see someone that may not have that type of person in their life, and you are in the position to be that type of person in their life, where no matter what, you're there for them, no matter how good or bad they do, I'm telling you, if you are strong enough to be that person for them, it changes and it saves life. It really, really does. It makes the biggest impact ever. I was reading something about when you're a parent, you enforce good behaviours with rewards and niceties and things like that. And when your kid does something bad, you enforce it by telling them off and screaming and shouting them or whatnot, punishment and stuff. And as a parent, you think you're doing the right thing because you're enforcing you're enforcing good behaviours and the negative ones you're shutting down. And although this is positive, as well as the parent is thinking, what tends to happen is when your kid messes up, they want to hide it and they don't want to tell you about it. And I think for the most part, they realise that they're just gonna get bombarded with shame and hate towards them, and they hold it in. And so that creates a dynamic where a kid that messes up won't ever express or allow those emotions to flow, and they'll end up bottling up for years and years, and that's not good. I don't know why I want to talk about that. I guess I just had the feeling to do so. A lot of my problems in my life stem from my childhood, and so I think examining certain reasons why I am the way I am and the way a lot of people are kind of helps me to decipher the life that I'm living and the people around me. And so little things like that, when I read them and I try to understand them, it's really, really good for me. But yeah, I think that's it.